open a trapdoor and enter a clearing. After searching the area, you determine that you are surrounded by invisible walls. Roll for initiative.
I cast a magic missile on Ryan, the goblin elf archer.
Great. Well, I don't have any dice, so what's
So
that
you can
mean?
just introduce yourself.
Okay. Hi, I'm Ryan.
I am Patrick, and I am a dark elf sorcerer with a blacksmithing and...
I heard you're also an
Crochet.
associate editor.
Oh yeah, that too.
Mm.
I am an associate editor too.
We also have Daniel Bloodworth.
Bloodworth stands in confusion.
Okay. And I'm Justin. I'll be hosting the show. Shane is out at an important event getting some bitchin' media coverage. So first up, we have footage of the week. We have On the Hook, where we answer people's emails. Before I forget, Ryan, if people want to see this thing and
Yeah,
want to subscribe to it.
Yeah, a lot of you guys have been asking for subscriptions, and now when you go to the Invisible Walls page, you should be able to subscribe. And I think even through like iTunes, you can now just type like Invisible Walls or go to the Game Trailers page in iTunes, and you can subscribe and get it downloaded automatically every week.
Patrick and Ryan went to visit THQ to check out some of their wares. They'll tell you about that. We have a new segment called Ban Mail, which is just unbridled awesome. Grumpy McGrump returns again with some more grumpiness. And after that, we have a segment called Best of Breed. It'll be great. Wow, this is a full episode. We also have
a shit ton of stuff.
Also, we're trying a new thing called Game Club. This week, it's Do-Re-Mi Fantasy.
This is a PC game, I think, called So Blonde. And one of the first things you see in the trailer is it's the adventure game of the year, which I was not aware of. And it's about a blonde girl who gets sent back in time to the time of pirates, and she has to survive with 17th century hygiene and other horrible things.
Wow.
So it's a simulation?
No, I think it's just an adventure game.
Oh, okay.
Who said the adventure genre was dead?
It's good that they're branching out to blonde women. I think it's an untapped resource.
And much, much more.
Well, on the media side, there wasn't a whole lot of awesome stuff that we procured from the THQ event, but something that was pretty awesome, question mark, was the Gary Busey PSA ads, and I think actions speak louder than words, so here's a clip.
Next up, we've got On the Hook, where we put people on the hook.
Yeah, I have a question from Renga. And he says, "Hello, Invisible Walls people. With companies like Square Enix now getting into spin-offs and releasing more game than ever before, the level of quality expected to be a bit lower. What do you guys think? Is less more, or should we just be happy with more games that feature the known and loved characters and creatures?" Yeah, well, I'd say, first of all, spin-offs are paying for the bigger titles. That's why they do a lot of them. And also, if you think you're seeing a lot of crappy spin-offs, then you should see some of the stuff Square has in Japan for mobile phones, and they have little travel guides for the DS and other things that you just don't picture Square Enix making.
I think the quality's been there. I mean, they're not all AAA games, but like, well, Dirge of Cerberus kind of sucked, but
It sucked a lot.
Advent Children, Crisis Core, good.
Crisis Core is good, yeah.
I mean, but if you think back to like Chocobo Racing.
Well, with spin-offs actually having series now.
Yeah.
You just did the
Spin-offs
Final
and
Fantasy
spin-offs.
Crystal Chronicles,
Yep.
review, and it's like, okay, so now we have 3 Crystal Chronicles games and a couple more coming. It's kind of strange.
I just think it's funny because if you kind of contrast the Square Enix model to, say, the anime and manga model in Japan, they go through so many series really quickly in anime and manga. And, they have their run of merchandise, for one season when the show's at its hottest. And then, they almost always forget about it right away. But then Square Enix, they hang on to that Final Fantasy VII for as long as they can.
And they'll remake stuff too. I mean, don't expect to see, Chrono Trigger on Virtual Console ever. That's my guess.
Yeah, they're still not really on Virtual Console much at all. We got King's Knight.
Yeah, just some crappy stuff.
Ooh, before anyone knew who they were.
All right, well, this one is from Jugger D. Do you guys think that the Star Wars cameos will fit in with the rest of the characters in Soul Calibur 4? Wouldn't they be out of place? Since SC2 had cameos from each of their own companies' ellipses.
Well, I actually got to interview the Japanese producer at CES and I asked him this question, gave an answer, and then the translator was like, whatever the consumer wants is what's good for the game. So I don't even know if the people at, the making Soul Calibur 4 are actually too keen on this, but we've seen a little bit of footage now. It looks okay, but did anyone ever actually play?
Good. I'm a little worried about it. I mean, Soul Calibur 3 was kind of, a lot of people saw that as like, okay, this is a home console release. We don't have to worry about balance. Let's throw a bunch of modes in there and throw a bunch of characters in there, have a created character. And honestly, it ended up being like a really broken game. And I'm worried they're kind of taking the same approach here. Like, let's announce all our secret characters. We're getting some manga artists to do some characters. And it's like, it's like, what about establishing the game and saying, this is a game, this is the identity, these are the characters.
Yeah.
And they're splitting the characters up over the versions, right? There's only one
Yoda's
character
on the
version.
Xbox and
That's
Vader's
kind
on-
of stupid. It's very gimmicky.
That's kind of sad.
So recently, Patrick and Ryan went to THQ to check out what they had to offer.
Yeah, and it wasn't that much. I mean, I've seen GTA, and then they're showing Saints Row, and it's like pre-alpha, it's janky. You can make your own characters. Didn't see any trannies. I don't know. The Gary Busey stuff we talked about earlier was probably the best part. Baja looked interesting, but still like super early, and it's all like off-road and has this like beautiful environment. And then like as soon as you're off-road, they're like, "Get back on the track!" And then like 20 seconds later, they just pop you back on there. So that was a little disheartening. The guy says there's going to be like a free-range mode where you can like explore and stuff in like your dune buggy. And it's cool, like the helicopters flying and everything, but still a little too early to say. And all of their Wii stuff just kind of looked like trash. But Patrick saw something he enjoyed.
Darksiders, and it's basically a third-person action-adventure game where you control War of the 4 Horsemen of the Apocalypse. And the cool thing is that it seems like a weird mix between, Metroid and God of War. And it seems cool also because it mixes these two kinds of worlds where you have a main hub where it's kind of like a free-roaming where you're just exploring and doing quests around places. And then you have these kind of instance dungeons where you go through them and there's like scripted events, bosses, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, the main reason that I like it is because it's designed by Joe Madureira, who some people might know as the artist behind, the old X-Men issues, Battle Chasers. He's doing Ultimates 3 right now.
Oh yeah, that guy.
Yeah.
I do recognize that name.
They showed us how you could like expand, like where you can start with like these creatures would like kill you instantly, but once you have a horse, you're quick enough to like get past this little part so the world expands.
Oh, like organically. That's kind of cool.
Yeah, and the horse like just you kind of summon it up because it's like a demon and everything. It's definitely something to keep an eye
I
on.
dug it.
Sounds cool. Original property. That's
From THQ of all people.
Yeah.
Yeah, is the Blob still looking good, or
better
is it
than another
kinda-
Destroy All
The Blob
Humans.
looks like what we've always been seeing. The animation they released was cool. It looks fun.
I guess the general consensus is that it has that Katamari vibe where you can just kind of mindlessly get into it.
We have Jamie and Kelly here, and they're not beautiful women. They're our community managers who are dudes. They're going to read a couple of letters for us. So
Still a beautiful dude.
it's a beautiful dude. Hey Jamie, hey Kelly, what's happening?
Nothing. Just chilling,
So, what are your guys' official titles anyway?
We are considered community managers. I don't know.
Manage
We
a
do it all.
community.
We manage communities. We deal with we get mods. We deal with people.
You hawk goods.
Yeah, we hawk goods. We do the marketplace stuff, and we piss people off by denying orders and stuff like that. But
Ban a lot of racist kids.
yes, a
Making the
lot of
world a better
racist,
place.
homophobic people out there, and they seem to all be on our forums. No.
Well, let's read some letters.
But here's what we got after we banned this dude. He says, "Dude, what the heck? You can't ban me from leaving comments. It's freedom of expression. So you're breaking the First Amendment. Also, what did I do?" I don't know. That's a dramatic reading.
All right, I got one here. Why did you ban me? I didn't call any users a f***. I call Capcom a f***. The rules state that you can't call other users a f***. When did Capcom become a user? You're a mod, and yet you don't know the rules.
Okay.
All right. Here we go. This one's a good one. I hate you and you have no heart. You are a 38-year-old virgin and you got no life. You are living with your mom and you've got no friends. The last time you talked to a girl was last night, and that was your mom. She's the only girl you talk to, you little stab wound. Thank you.
Yeah, so, so I got another one here. This is from some guy that I was talking to back and forth after banning him, and he did say some funny stuff to me. I was like, I almost let him off the hook, but this was one of the last messages he sent. It was, I love you. Don't be so mean. Unban me, and your soul will be redeemed in heaven. Lol, just kidding. Quit being a jerk and let me continue my trolling of game trailers. And so I unbanned him because, what could I do at that point? He was
Yeah.
right.
Convincing.
Yeah. Your soul was in jeopardy on that.
Yeah.
This one, it's a whole lot of nonsense, but the best part, you're and you deserve to be banned. I donated to kids, and you guys said it's sold out. How will Charlie eat today? P.S. yourself. Classy.
I just want to know who Charlie
It's too much.
Who's Charlie?
Poor Charlie.
Do you have advice? If users don't want to be banned, what should they not do?
Not be racist, derogatory comments. Those are usually a big no-no. Just use the site like normal. Just be a normal user, and you can earn tons of GTD.
Do you guys run a good behavior system?
That has never even come up. Sorry.
Good behavior. Do we have that on the site? No. I love our users. We have great mods, and we have a lot of great members out there.
Don't talk to me. You just get your together, you hear me?
No problem.
Hi, it looks like we have a returning guest. He's very surly, and looks like he wants to jump across the table and strangle somebody.
And you forgot to mention that I'm devastatingly handsome and just sex on a stick. Anyway, so what am I pissed about? Yes, because I know that's all you want to talk about. My annoyances. So I was having lunch with a friend. So we were talking about Rainbow Six Vegas, and he was telling me how excited he was about the game and how much fun he had. And then, I started telling him about what was in the original Rainbow Six, where, the features like, set your waypoints, set your loadouts, different missions, different loadouts. You'd have a couple of teams to command, and how this is, gradually eroded from the Rainbow Six franchise. And the same thing happened with Ghost Recon. But it sort of struck me because when I told him, he was really into it. And this is a guy who's only played Rainbow Six Vegas and Vegas 2, and he was actually really excited about the prospect of playing a genuine tax sim. I'm just wondering about the general dumbing down of games, and the subset of that is, what the is happening to PC games? Why aren't we getting kick-ass versions of Rainbow Six and Ghost Recon on the PC? The thing that's scaring me is that if you look at the Ghost Recon that was launched in 2002 or 2001, and you look at the Rainbow Six and Rogue Spear that was launched in the late 90s, year 2000, and you compare them now, and while the graphics are better, the production value is higher, the gameplay has devolved. They've basically gone from what was a tax sim, which was something that people needed to think about and plan and had a little bit of strategy in it. So it basically appealed to older gamers.
Graw 2 on the PC was a different game. I think they had Grin develop it, and they developed it from the ground up for the PC.
And was it a really good game?
No.
Thank you.
But
thank you. No, you just.
Do you think is that the route people? I mean, is that a step in the right direction? Should we be separating SKUs for PC and consoles?
Only if you're going to make them better. I think basically the way I look at it, if I was running a development house, I'd develop a game for PC because I know I could get most of the features in, and then start dumbing it down, pulling stuff out for console, not the other way around, not developing for console and then, what else can we squeeze in? Because at the end of the day, it's easier to take stuff out, close off certain sections of code, annex certain sections, and to make them fit into a 360 or a PS3 or a Wii.
I know, it seems like a basic design thing to me rather than, how much can we fit and what features can we fit. And if you look at the gameplay, surely, I mean, you can't set waypoints and stuff, but there was no cover system in the original Rainbow Six. I mean, with the cover system, you can pop out, take shots. There's a lot of cool things, I think, that the consoles added. And I mean, at what point do you say, this is making it accessible and this is dumbing it down? Can you make it accessible without dumbing it down?
Well, it depends. It depends on the term accessible, really. I mean, you put it on the consoles and it's going to sell. But who are you marketing to? Are you marketing to a bunch of kids? Are you marketing to somebody older? I think that perhaps, side point of this is that older gamers are getting slightly gypped out of games that are a little bit more challenging, a little more tactical. If you can implement stuff like the cover, which You could do that in Black Hawk Down. You could do that in a lot of games now. That is great. Implement that, fantastic. But where is taking it further? Where's the whole,
More than two guys on your team, right?
More than two guys on your team. You originally set a team of, I think you'd have three. You could set 3 or 4 players, 3 or 4 people in your team, and you'd have team 2 that was off, using AI, following the waypoints you set, so you made sure that you intersected at the right time. You got the whole mission objective done. And I just would love to see something like that come back, especially as tech is so much better. AI is so much sharper. I mean, if Red Storm could pull it off in like 2001 with Ghost Recon, I mean, what's stopping people doing it now?
Patrick over here has recently been playing Universe at War on the Xbox 360.
Okay.
I'm still very apprehensive about playing real-time strategy games on a console.
Yeah, it's definitely a lot more accessible to play an RTS with a system like Universe at War. I think they did a good job of translating the RTS controls to an Xbox 360 controller without taking away too much from it. But at the same time, it's still missing a pretty big component.
So, is it dumbed down?
It is, yeah.
And then we see things like Sins of a Solar Empire, little tiny indie game, sells 500,000 copies like out of the blue.
Kicking ass in the reviews. It's a great little title. I mean, and then you look at something else. I mean, World in Conflict's coming out on the 360, I believe. That was a great game on the PC.
I think World in Conflict will work fine on consoles. It does kind of have I wouldn't say it's simplified, but and I think in the design they can say this is a console game. How are we going to do this?
I'm not saying it's going to be a bad game, but what I'm going to say is it going to be as good as the PC original? Is it going to have as many features as the PC original?
I mean, when you're porting something, sometimes things get lost. It's not because it's impossible to do. It's because people are like, we have to take this game and put in a different thing. It's a tough process.
No, I mean, having been on the game side of it, working at these companies, a lot of stuff is basically dumbed down. It's not necessarily a development decision. It's sometimes a marketing decision. It's like, what? This is what our demographic says. This is what our focus testing says. And focus testing is getting out of control in the video game industry, by the way. Focus testing pisses me off. Because at the end of the day, you'll get 3 or 4 people in whose only experience is playing friggin' Halo or playing GTA or whatever, and you expect them to provide a balanced feedback on an RTS or whatever. I mean,
wasn't it focus testing that produced the original controller, the Xbox? And that thing was just unusable.
Oh, what, you mean the brick?
Yeah, the giant original controller before the X.
That was a huge controller, yeah. I mean, that may have been focus testing. I don't like focus testing, especially, games are always going to be a very personal experience for a lot of people, especially, old codgers like me. They're like movies. You don't want to design by committee. You don't want a movie that's directed by a committee. So I'm just, like I said, I'm pissed off with the dumbing down of games in general, but the dumbing down of PC games.
It's like the whole kids game argument. When some developer shows you a crappy Spider-Man game, it's like, why is this game so crappy? Well, it's for kids. Well, what does that have to do with anything?
Exactly.
What did we play when we were kids? We played Contra.
Yeah, exactly.
We did.
Zelda was a kid's game.
Yeah.
That's it. I've had enough. This is a ridiculous thing. I'm throwing stuff against
Get
the
out of
wall.
here.
Yeah. I'm stealing this mouse.
Okay.
Okay, we're going to do a new segment. It's called Best of Breed.
Maybe.
We're looking for the most regal and well-bred game in the series.
Exemplary.
Series cannot be castrated. It has to have perfectly groomed hair.
And
Anyway,
what series are we doing this week?
this week we're going to do Sonic.
So I think we can probably knock off every 3D Sonic ever made.
The first Sonic Adventure is pretty decent.
Personally, I like the first Sonic Adventure.
I like the first Sonic Adventure when you're playing as Sonic. When you're like Big the Cat or Tails is okay.
Well, Big the Cat sucked for sure, but like the robot, he was pretty badass.
Okay.
Yeah. I'd say so.
I like the first level. That whale thing's totally awesome.
Yeah.
Still think it's cool. Still looks good. But Best of Breed, Sonic Adventure.
No, it wouldn't be right at the top, but I think it deserves some kind of mention. It's not like
the
Best 3D Sonic?
one,
Yeah.
for sure.
The 2D games that we can knock off, I think we can knock off Sonic Rivals, probably everything on the Game Gear. That pinball game's kind of fun, Spinball.
Spinball is decent.
It's fun for like 15 minutes and then like...
Well, I don't know if it's the best of breed, but if you've ever played Chaotix, That one was kind of an interesting spin on the series.
Is that the 32X?
Yeah, it was.
No, I have not played that.
It was kind of cool because it seemed like the precursor to Sonic Adventures because you could play as these totally weird new characters, like the Bee.
Charmy.
Yeah.
What's up, Charmy?
I vaguely remember it, but it seemed to be pretty cool at the time.
See, but I hate playing as the other characters in Sonic games.
What about Sonic and Knuckles? How do you feel about, Knuckles? He's a lot like Sonic.
He's cool. I like playing Knuckles for the first time.
With the plug-in.
Yeah, I don't
cartridge
know.
thing.
Just, what is he? He's a spiny anteater?
He's
No,
a
it's
echidna.
echidna.
Yeah, that's a spiny Annie. Those things are gross. Like, I have like real world like bad associations with those things. That was the one that you could plug in the cartridge though and unlock them in the old games and stuff
Yes.
like that. That was cool.
Okay, so I will say Sonic 3, not because of the gameplay, but because Michael Jackson supposedly had a hand in the music, and the music's pretty cool.
Well, Yuzo Koshiro actually did the original Mega Drive version, I think. The Streets of Rage guy.
Mhm.
He's very high respected, so that's a cool soundtrack. And I think the first Sonic for me, it's probably my favorite. It was definitely kind of new gameplay for its time, so
Yeah, just going right as
it
fast as
moved
possible.
really
It's
freaking
kind of
fast.
cool.
You could do loop-de-loops.
I like Sonic 2, and I think it was because I had a younger brother, and he could just, kind of play as Tails. Had like the two-player thing.
Yeah.
It wasn't real. Like you could control him a little bit to help get some rings, but then you just speed away, and then his tails would just go there. They used Robotnik or Eggman or whatever you want to call him a little bit better in 2, but they didn't really lose any of like the speed or anything.
Yeah, Sonic 2 is definitely, it's a highly respected
Yeah.
game.
And it had the introduction of the Spin Dash.
Well,
True.
yeah.
The bonus stage blew my mind at the time.
The grid.
Oh, yeah.
Where you're running.
Yeah.
Yeah. Even though now later on, I think that I like the bonus game in the first one better. It's just so weird where the whole rotating and you're just trying to fall on those things to get the.
Chaos Emeralds.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I mean, I know a lot of people like Sonic CD, and I know it's finally available, and they like mess up the music, and I know people are music purists, but it seems like it's just like a features creep, like just adding more and more stuff, and I think Sonic really is kind of like point A to point B and make it awesome. And hopefully Sonic Unleashed.
Yeah.
Well, the early games definitely did that. But not with the Sonic Unleashed, I mean, you have point A to point B as a werewolf monkey hedgehog.
Yeah, and they said that's going to be slower and more agile, I think was the quote that I'm hearing on the internet.
And
So
isn't
slower
it-
doesn't necessarily bode well with me, but
And isn't it going to break out into like actual free roaming?
I like agility, though.
yeah. So
They have a
Even-
good reason to turn him into a werewolf. I mean,
Why not?
I know that they don't have a good reason to make another Sonic game, but they keep doing it anyway. Hopefully, maybe it'll be awesome. I'm not going to judge it before I play it, but I think we would have to go with Sonic 2 if we had to pick one. Patrick was inspired by Oprah's book club. He wanted to share the magic with you, our viewers. This week we've got Doremi Fantasy, which is a SNES game. It's a platformer. It looks pretty good. Never came out here, but is available through the good grace of Nintendo and their Virtual Console.
really big characters, lots of animation. But like even if you go to a windy stage, like he's holding onto his cap and stuff like that.
Yeah, there are definitely a lot of cool touches, like the falling animation looks.
Yeah.
He's like, oh no, I'm gonna fall. And
His
the
eyes
bubble-
bug
yeah.
out and he falls.
And then the bubble gum if it saves you.
It's actually a pretty helpful mechanic when you do like the little Looney Tunes like bug out. You can actually kind of go, oh shit, I gotta get back onto the stage.
yeah, I mean the animation definitely cool, platforming solid, but is it a must-have?
Yeah.
I think it's really cool.
It's really on the level of something like Bonk or something. I mean, it's really, really good platformer that I don't think people should
Yeah.
miss. And for $9, I mean.
Real quick though, what about the musical instrument gimmick? You get new instruments and charge it up. How does that work? Because that's
Yeah,
kind of
they're basically your new powers. So you go through a world, you get an instrument, and that allows you, the new instruments allow you to do things like dive underwater or create these little ladders out of musical notes. And they have a really cool bosses, really huge, crazy bosses.
Snowman looked pretty mean.
Yeah, Snowman was wicked.
The thing that surprised me the most about the game is that it's deceptively difficult. The cake level with all the crazy knives popping out of the
Yeah.
ground.
One part of Game Club is we invite you to play with us, so some of you guys saw the blog entry, and we got a pretty good comment from someone called Soy Raw. He writes, why did Hudson take out the puzzle aspects and turn this sequel into more of just a straightforward platformer compared to Myland's Secret Castle on the NES? If anyone played Myland's Secret Castle, it's not a very good game.
Milan wanted to escape his secret castle, maybe.
Yeah, I mean,
Blow
you just
some bubbles.
walk around and like wave your wand and things disappear and come back. It's not
It's
upper,
hard for me to really even
top tier.
believe that like it's even a sequel. I think,
Well, it looks similar, and the little bubbles are similar.
yeah, he does blow bubbles. Yeah.
They said they
But-
totally took out the puzzle aspect, but I mean, is
Yeah, but
there are a
you're,
few
you're
secrets
looking,
at least.
you're searching the stages to find the musical notes later on, you know,
I
not
think-
falling to your death.
Yeah, I think Hudson just wanted to make the game better. So, Super NES, great place to make a 2D platformer, and they made sounds like a pretty good one.
Yeah.
He also wanted to mention, as an Easter egg, if you're a fan of Milan or whatever his name is, he's a character in the Saturn version of Bomberman. It's pretty cool. This guy's
And
getting
Bomberman
into
makes
it.
a cameo in this game. That's actually pretty funny.
They're friends. They're the best of friends. And not the manliest game. You know, the kids out there playing flutes and blowing bubbles, but it's a really cool platformer.
It is.
If you didn't play it for our club, go back and play it anyway. You've all failed your saving throws, and the show is over. You should be deeply ashamed. No loot for you, but we'll do it again next week. Ryan, why don't you tell us a little bit about how people can harass us?
Well, as always, you know, don't send us your ban mail. Wait to get banned for that. But you can find us at invisiblewalls.gametrailers.com, where you can leave comments and stuff or private message us. Or you can email us at invisiblewalls@gametrailers.com as well.
Great. We'll see you next week. Maybe.